All right, so we've got some issues with Stephen, but we saw him about 15 minutes ago down by the water. Let's check back in with Stephen.
I'm not able to hear you right now, but to give you a sense, I'm reporting here in Georgetown, where right now we are getting heavy bands of rain and wind from Dorian as they continue through this area right now. Flooding was the concern earlier, and it appears, for the most part, at least here in downtown Georgetown, that flooding has receded as the tides have as well. But earlier today over there in the bay, we saw, according to the National Weather Service, gusts of up to 80 miles an hour. The eye of that Hurricane Dorian now about 40 miles or so offshore, and right now it is certainly quiet here in Georgetown. We've had police that have been monitoring the area. We have seen a lot of tree limbs as well as branches and debris that have been on the road. Most of downtown, however, is passable aside from those few flooded areas along Front Street here. Heavy wind and rain, unlike what we had seen yesterday. Certainly a change as the storm has made its way through our area right now. Emergency services have been temporarily suspended because of the high winds in this area for most of Georgetown County. Despite that fact, earlier today, and as you should have seen a moment ago, firefighters were out at least battling one house fire, braving the elements in every sense of the word to try and put those fires out. So a very busy day for first responders, who are essentially been the only people that we've seen out here. It is windy and rainy, and as of right now, though, everything is quiet so far. No major issues here in downtown Georgetown. Reporting live, I'm Stephen Quinn.
Stephen, thank you. We're going to head now to Berkeley County, where there has been some widespread damage after Dorian came through. Our
Angela Brown joining us live from apparently where a tree fell on someone's house. Angela.
Right, that's right. We've been here in Berkeley County for a couple hours now after hearing from some viewers who wanted to know what was happening here to get a closer view. Now, we have seen like some minor stuff like trees down, limbs, but over here, this is probably the worst we've seen it while we've been driving around Berkeley County. You can see this tree right here pulled up from the roots. Look at this, fell on someone's house, the top part here. I had a chance to speak with the homeowner inside. She tells me this happened between 5 and 6 a.m. in the morning. They were inside, obviously sleeping, when they heard this loud crash, this boom onto their house. They came out, and this is what they saw. Now, the area where this tree fell, apparently it's the Florida room, kind of near the dining room area. It doesn't appear as though any of the limbs got inside of the home, but still, you know, very frightening for the homeowners who live here in this area. Now, we've had a chance, as I said, to drive around Berkeley County. We've been doing it for a couple hours now. We've been seeing stuff like this. We saw a tree down at a school. We also saw one of the, the signal lights that was just crashed to the ground. A number of lights are out. Also, we just had a chance to check the power outage map, and apparently over 6,000 people are without power right now in Berkeley County. But we're going to stay here in Berkeley County, just driving around, talking to folks who are kind of picking up from Dorian today. Or in this case, the homeowners, they're going to have to wait a little while before they can actually clean up this damage we're looking at right here. Reporting in Berkeley County, working for you tonight, Angela Brown.
All right, Angela, thank you. We want to get you caught up on what Dorian is doing right now. Our Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Dave Williams joining us with more on that during this 5 o'clock hour.
We don't really care so much about the changes with Dorian now, do we?
Well, if I live up in Georgetown, I do.
Well, it's moving away from there, too.
You're still in the middle of it, still getting...
It's looking better for everybody, I promise.
I believe
Here's
you.
what we have. We've got a Category 2 hurricane off the coast, off the Grand Strand right now. It's Dorian, 105-mile-an-hour wind, so it has weakened a little bit. It'll continue to weaken, and look at that northeasterly motion. Speeding up. As expected, it's going to continue to head out to sea. Doesn't even look like it's going to make a landfall in the United States. So within about 25 miles of the coast earlier today, and now it's moving farther away. We're looking at that pressure up to 960 millibars. That will continue to climb, and we'll watch Dorian slide farther and farther away. So let's go ahead right now, and we'll move on to the next graphic. I hit that. Let's see. There it is. There we go. 75 degrees. At least the clicker waited till now to freeze up on us. Still some showers in Charleston, moderate to heavy rain, 75 degrees. Looking outside the Charleston harbor, not seeing the white caps like we had through most of the day today, but still a wobble in the camera, so it is still breezy. The hurricane warning has been moved up to Charleston County, Berkeley County, Georgetown County, Horry County, Coastal Colleton, Beaufort, Dorchester, and Williamsburg. You are under a tropical storm warning. Take you in, and there we go. We've got those showers. Still some gusty winds, especially from Bowles Bay up toward Georgetown. The rest of us just looking at moderate rain. That storm sitting just off the coast, but moving away from us. Back edge of the storm moving into southern Charleston County right now. So if it's still raining at your house, you don't have to wait much longer. It's going to taper off through the evening. 71 degrees overnight tonight with some showers, and then tomorrow gorgeous. Hopefully your power isn't knocked out because you're going to need the AC tomorrow. 92 degrees, 72 tomorrow night, and we've got plenty more heat in the forecast and no more tropical systems for now, or hopefully anytime soon, but things will quiet down nicely over the next week. I'll get you that forecast in just a couple of minutes.
Dave, thank you much.
Yep. Trooper Bob has been out on the roads for the last 24 hours or so, been watching things very closely, interested to find out how if people are slowly starting to creep back onto our roadways downtown or wherever you may be.
You know, I've been in the car for 12 hours, Dean, and actually, so I think I could have drove to Connecticut today. All right, but let's go to the roadway right now. I want to show you a couple things. North Market Street, this is where we're at. There's about 8 inches of water here. This business owner next to me, his entire outside patio has at least about 8 inches of water there. All right, a couple things we need to look at. There's still street lights that are out. There's a street light on Calhoun that's turned sideways. Lockwood Boulevard, there's an entire light pole that crashed to the ground. You have a stop sign that's down in one of these streets that I saw. There's a cone that's trying to float right here about 50 feet in front of me. So you don't know if that cone was covering a manhole or was it covering some construction. We had some barrels that moved because of the storm. So there's a lot to get done, and there's still streets that are blocked off because of flooding. So the city has a lot to do before we can get this thing back to 100% working order. So again, if you're curious, don't come out here tonight because you're not going to be able to see the depth of the water. I can't even tell the depth of the water by looking at it now, but you're not going to be able to see where the barricades are. And some streets don't even have barricades because it was probably impossible to put a barricade in front of every street that was flooded today. But I know the city did a great job keeping up with it. Kudos to the Charleston Police Department. So let's make sure everyone stays safe. Back to you guys.
All right, Trooper Bob, you stay safe as well. Thank you. We want to get now back downtown. Our Brody Hart standing by where he's been all day. Still plenty of flooding there, right, Brody?
Yeah, so we've kind of been going around and around, showing you all the trees down throughout downtown, showing you all the power lines that are down. So slowly but surely, we're seeing people kind of climb back out, come outside as they're just tired. You know, a little cabin fever all around the low country. And that includes right here downtown. AC's Bar and Grill, one of the few places that is open. We can see some people outside. I actually peeked inside just a few minutes ago, and it was pretty much packed. I got Clyde Toms with me this afternoon. All right, so tell me. Yep, I'll shake your hand. How's it been for you kind of riding out the storm?
You know, we're ready for it to be over, ready for stuff to get back to normal here. Kind of a big hubbubaloo for nothing, if you ask me, but just ready to get back to work, ready for the power to get back on, and you know, just ready for 26 to go both ways again.
You don't have power, so you came downtown to find a place that has power just to kind of hang out for a little bit. Is that it?
Yeah, you know, have a couple beers, eat some chicken fingers, some fries, get some hot food, enjoy some company. You know, just try and. No power, get a little bored playing cards, and only so much you can do.
I guess all the beer at your house is hot at this point.
A little bit, you know. Don't want to open the fridge, let stuff go bad. So we'll come drink some of theirs.
Okay, all right. So moving forward, how are you going to kind of recover from this once you get power? You said your neighborhood's not looking too bad right now.
Not too bad. I just, you know, wish my boss would reconsider his decision for work tomorrow. I got to take a cold shower. Not looking forward to it.
I wish my boss would reconsider that decision as well.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Now, in any case, this is kind of what we're seeing. We've seen people out and about really for a lot of the day. We know in the middle of the day when the hurricane was the strongest, when Dorian was the strongest, it was pretty much a ghost town around downtown. Right now, it's getting close to dinner time, guys. People are kind of getting stir crazy. They're getting out and about. So we are seeing a couple places open downtown. AC's Bar and Grill, kind of the busiest that we've seen right now. We'll keep going around, telling you what we see. We're live downtown right now, though. get it back to you.
You can tell Chad and Brad, Brody, and I'll keep you here quickly.
Yeah.
He doesn't have electricity. His beer is hot.
Yes.
What else?
He doesn't want to go to work tomorrow.
Didn't want to go, that sounds like a hullabaloo to me. Doesn't it to you?
Hey, ask me one more time, Dean.
Oh.
No, that's okay.
We're out of time.
You're awesome. You're awesome, though.
Brody, thank you much. We're going to take a quick break. Back after this.
Because we've still got some breezy conditions, but we're not seeing the white caps on the water out there. Ravenel Bridge looking good. We've still got the cloudy gray skies, but even those aren't going to last much longer. Look at some of these wind gusts. The tropical storm force winds made it here. The 100% chance, 90 to 100% chance pays off right here. 92 mile an hour wind gust on the Capers buoy just off the coast of Capers Island. 86 mile an hour wind gust at the lighthouse at Winya Bay. Charleston Harbor, 80 mile an hour wind gust, and then some of these gusts, 66 in Sullivan's Island, 61 Somerville, 67 Folly Beach, and that one came very early in the morning. Trees and power outages out there, so things were quite windy. 30 mile an hour winds right now. These are the sustained winds. 29 in Georgetown. The center of our storm never came on shore and still out over the Atlantic Ocean, now moving off to our north and east. Here are the wind gusts right now. Still very gusty winds in Georgetown. You're still seeing tropical storm force wind gusts. Even Charleston seeing those wind gusts up around 38 miles an hour. Off to the south, 25 to 30 mile an hour wind gusts, but these are really going to start to calm down, especially as we head towards sunset, those winds calming down. Every little dot you see on here is a storm report. We'll go ahead and take a look at a few of those and look at all these storm reports. 101 reports of storms, and fortunately we didn't have this. We saw the video of that a little earlier, tornadoes up in Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, Little River, and let's take a look at some of these reports that we had in the low country. Take you up to Debadew. There you go. And in Debadew, we saw water over some of the roadways. This was right at high tide there. I expected this to be the worst hit area in southern Georgetown County, and we got that surge coming in here. This is about the only spot we saw the surge throughout the low country. About a 2-foot rise in the Charleston Harbor. That was with the 1:11 in the morning high tide this past morning. Significant erosion on a bridge that crosses Foster Creek. The roadway is unstable there in Goose Creek, so the bridge washed out there because of the high water. A look at our tropical storm in North Charleston, a large branch down on a house in Park Circle, unknown what the structural composition is there of the house. And then off to the south and west, Hollywood, trees down, power lines down on Highway 162. No one escaped this storm, even down toward Beaufort. Look at this. A couple of boats broke free from their mooring and they started washing ashore along Sea Island there. So we saw a lot of damage, we saw a lot of rain, a lot of wind. Now the last of the rain is moving from Colleton County into Dorchester and Charleston County, and this will continue to push to the north and the east. There's our storm still spinning off the coast, and this is going to move farther north and east this evening. The back edge of the rain right here, leaving Colleton County, even a few peaks of sunshine a little farther south and west, and nothing but sun back here in Georgia. That's what's going to push in tomorrow, and we're going to see some gorgeous weather, but it is going to be hot over the next couple of days. So there's our storm out over the Atlantic Ocean. We start our timeline at 5 p.m. Wind forward, and there it goes, far away from us by midnight, starting to see the clearing, working into Charleston County already by midnight. When you wake up tomorrow morning, nothing but bright sunshine, and all day tomorrow, it's going to be gorgeous. We'll have lots of sun, 5 p.m., hot temperatures in the lower 90s, and then tomorrow evening looks pretty good too. Too bad we don't have high school football tomorrow night, because it would be a perfect night for high school football. Maybe a tad warm, but really not too bad. 71 degrees overnight tonight with those showers coming to an end. We'll see the skies clearing after midnight, and by tomorrow morning, not a cloud in the sky. Beautiful bright sunshine all the way through your Friday. Now Friday's a good day to get out there and start to clean up after the storm. There's a lot of cleanup to do. Make sure to help your neighbors. Make sure to look out for everybody else out there, because you're not the only ones that saw damage. Help everybody out. We'll get through this. We'll get cleaned up, and we'll see our beautiful city repaired. Lower 90s to mid 90s right on into the weekend, and we'll keep it 91 on Monday. Headed toward the middle of next week, that's when we'll bring in a small chance for rain. Stray shower or thunderstorm possible as we go from Wednesday into Thursday.
All right, thank you so much, Dave. Let's head over to Sullivan's Island now, see how the islands held up during this storm. Ann?
Hi, Dean. Yes, we are. That's exactly what we're finding out right now. And we have the mayor here for Sullivan's Island with us, Mayor Pat O'Neill. Thank you so much for joining us. How are things right now? Can you give us a status update?
Things are a lot better than we would have feared about 24 hours ago, I can say that for sure. Thank goodness the tidal surge never did materialize that we were most concerned about. Obviously, we've had some pretty strong winds here. Driving around the island, we can see that there's some trees down. Most of the island is without power, but in scattered places, houses do have power. Hopefully that's being addressed as it can be. We did not see very many homes with significant structural damage, so that's another good thing. So far as we know, we've had no injuries of any kind, and that's the best news out of all of this. We have had one consequence of the storm, though, that bears mention, and that's that as a result of all the rain, the sewer collection system has gotten somewhat overtaxed, and processing in the plant has slowed down. So we're asking people to limit their use of the water that goes down the drain. In other words, unless you're going to shower outside, maybe this is a good day to put off that shower. Don't do the dishes or clothes. It's a good excuse not to do that. And flush only when it's necessary.
Mayor, how long do you think that'll be going on with the sewer?
We're hoping that things will be turned around within the next 24 hours.
Right,
But again, we won't know until it happens.
Yeah, and you must feel quite relieved that things are where they are right now.
It could have been an awful lot worse. At the same time, that we're grateful, we were very concerned about the other people, for example, the hundreds of thousands in the Bahamas who were so completely devastated, and then the people up the coast who are still in for some trouble.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's good to see you. And so we're hearing that things are in relatively good shape out here on Sullivan's Island, and what we've been seeing as well as we've been driving around. Now, of course, we have seen some trees down. We did show it to you just before this of another tree that had gone down on Sullivan's Island. So they are going to be assessing damage as they go along. And obviously, we're feeling the wind gusts and feeling the rain still. The storm on the islands are not over. It's just not over yet. We're still dealing with some of the residual rain and wind, and we know that that can also still bring down trees. So they'll be watching this situation very carefully out here for a while. Reporting from Sullivan's Island, Ann Emerson, back to you.
All right, Ann, thanks so much.
We're going to take a quick break. We are back on ABC News 4 at 5 after this.
As we continue to track Dorian leading up to the 5:30 hour, take a look at this, captured by our reporter Rachel Ellis. You can see further down the street a tree knocked over onto a power line. This was Highway 78 in Latson, and you see the power line there draped down to the ground from the right all the way down to the street below. And another reason why officials suggest that you stay inside, stay off the roads. We are through the worst of the wind and the rain, but conditions still dangerous out there right now.
We are keeping our eye on outages as well. Just about 30 minutes ago, the Emergency Management Department posted to Twitter that there are currently 233,000 outages nationwide. If you look at the Dominion Energy map, there are more than 140,000 customers without power. The majority of those customers, yes, are in Charleston County. If you look at Berkeley Electric's numbers, they are sitting at roughly about 55,000 total outages right now at 5:30.
All right, as we head to break right now, in case of emergency, we've shown you these numbers. You may still need them. All of the numbers will be scrolling at the bottom of your screen throughout our newscast. You're watching ABC News 4 at 5 o'clock as we continue to cover Hurricane Dorian. Welcome back, everybody. We began this half hour with a first check on our weather tonight.
That's right, and our Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Dave Williams has been tracking Dorian for over a week now, joining us with the latest updates on where it is right now. Dave?
Yeah, and I just, well, first of all, I have to straighten my tie, but
it's been a long 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours.
Something like that. Who knows? Yeah. I'm not keeping track, but I did just get a note from somebody in Georgetown County on Facebook, and they're still getting it up there. So we're gonna watch that continue to get better as we go through the evening. So I want to take a look at some of the historic crests in the Charleston Harbor, and fortunately, we didn't challenge any of these. So the largest crest we ever saw was with the epic storm Hugo back in 1989, 12.52. We didn't even make it up to 8 feet. So the king tide that we had last Friday was actually higher than the storm surge that we got from this storm. So it was spread out up the coast and wasn't a problem here whatsoever. A look outside, still a little breezy, still a little rainy, heavy rain coming down. There's the Ravenel Bridge, and that picture's shaking around a lot, but we're not seeing the waves on the ocean like we saw a little bit earlier. 76 today, 72. The airport picked up almost 3 inches of rain. The record for today, 6 inches of rain, so we didn't break a record. A look at what we have with our temperatures, 72 in Georgetown, but 85 in Beaufort. There's hope. The sunshine will return tomorrow, and we're going to be looking at much nicer weather. 47-mile-an-hour winds in Georgetown, 36 in Charleston, so it is quite breezy out there still. Those winds will continue to wind down this evening. Last of the rain moving into Dorchester and southern Charleston County, still getting hit pretty good up here in Georgetown, right along the Santee River into McClellanville. This will continue to edge off to the north and the east over the next several hours. As far as your forecast over the next couple of days, Friday, it's going to be hot. Hopefully you have your power back by tomorrow, 92 degrees, and certainly by the weekend, lower to mid-90s all the way through the weekend. Mostly sunny. Few great days to get out there and clean up. Hopefully you didn't have too much damage at your house, but help out your neighbors because we do need to get the cleanup done and have our beautiful city back here soon. We'll talk about the rest of that 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Dave, thank you. It's been a very busy day for Somerville police. They say downed tree limbs and branches are spread out all over their streets in town. The police chief, who we spoke with this afternoon, says water, though, has not been an issue in that area.
We were really concerned about a lot of flooding happening. We've checked a bunch of areas so far. We don't have any flooding as of yet. Trees down, they're everywhere. I mean, there are. There's no specific area where just one area to stay away from. The truth of the matter is people just need to stay off the streets.
Roger says a lot of those trees came down early this morning, urging people now to stay off the road if possible. The Somerville Greenway have a little bit of work to do before they can storm McKissick Field again.
That's right. A giant tree cut power to the scoreboard, also knocked out the goalposts. Rachel Ellis joining us from the scene.
Yeah, this is outside the Somerville High School's football field. This is a major tree down right behind me. As you can see, it's toppled over the fence here. We spoke to the head football coach with the school. He says this tree fell on the scoreboard, goalpost, and knocked down a large part of the fence. He says he hasn't seen any damage to the field like this since Hurricane Hugo, and says their state championship banner that's been up forever got knocked down too. They say the hope is to get everything squared away for that Friday 13th home game here at Somerville High School. But until then, we'll just have to wait and see. Working for you, Rachel Ellis, ABC News 4.
Rachel, thank you. Downtown streets, no stranger, of course, to flooding. In fact, high tide started moving out just a few hours ago.
Our Kate Masso, downtown working for you tonight. That's where city workers pumping out flood water now that this tide has turned. Kate, where are you? What are you seeing?
We're here on Colonial Street, right here by Colonial Lake and Broad Street, where, as you said, Dean, city workers are now working to pump this floodwater here off the street. Now, right here on Colonial Street, there's as much as a foot of floodwater from rainfall, but you can hear it and you can see it. This industrial pump from the city of Charleston, sending water straight into the sewer right there. Now, crews have been out here since a little after 2 p.m. That's when we saw the high tide for today. If they'd started before then, these floodwaters would have just kept pushing back up into the street through the drainage system. But at this point, they're able to send this water either into Colonial Lake or back that other way into the sewer. And right now we are seeing them making some progress here as the floodwater is going down. Downtown, I'm Kate Masso, ABC News 4.
Our conditions still pretty rough around the low country, and yes, you can almost hear it, right? Another tree has fallen downtown.
And that's where we find our reporter Brooke Schrader. She has that story for us, new at 5.
Yeah, guys, we're here at Marion Square, where, as you can see right over here, a very large branch has snapped from this tree in this park right in front of the statue right there. Take a look at how large these, oh, I can hardly even lift them. That is how heavy these pieces of these branches are. Definitely due to these strong gusts of wind that we've been seeing as Dorian really makes its mark here in the low country. But yeah, that branch, it's very large, and what it's doing is now blocking parts of the road. So folks who are driving around are definitely having to maneuver. I just want to take you right across the street. Take a look at these businesses, how their sandbags are holding up. It's looking pretty good here just off of Calhoun Street in Marion Square. These sandbags and these ones seem to definitely be holding up well. What I want to show you is right over here. Check this out. Right on these boards, you know, blocking out what's written right here. Dorian making its mark just across all of the debris that we're seeing. Dorian definitely making its mark here in the low country. I'm reporting here in Marion Square, guys. I'll send it back to you.
If you receive WCIV ABC4 on Channel 36 via antenna, you'll need to rescan the channels on your digital receiver after September 6th. If you have cable or satellite, your signal will not be affected. Rescanning is simple and requires no new equipment or services. For more information on how to rescan your TV's tuner, visit fcc.gov/rescan or call 1-888-CALL-FCC. Rescan the channels on your digital receiver after September 6th to continue receiving WCIV in Charleston.
tornadoes. There are other hazards associated with hurricanes you may not even consider.
And that's right. Our Scott Eisberg went to a home in North Santee, Georgetown earlier today where a generator caused a big issue.
Hello from North Santee. We're here with Larry Bland. His home lost power, you said, at 3 o'clock. You had the generator on. Generator blew up and had a pretty good fire in there, you'd say?
Yes, definitely.
What happened? What was the scene like inside the home when it all happened?
I saw the light flicker, and then I heard something pop. And when I looked to the side of the door, that's when I saw a big flame. And I ran out the door, and I grabbed the water, and I tried to out it. Obviously, the generator must have exploded because I couldn't get control of it.
You seem pretty okay. I guess that's because everyone's safe.
Everyone's alive, and we can replace those things, but thank God my wife and my daughter is fine, and obviously I'm fine, so I thank God for that.
With this storm, I guess you were prepared with the generator, but it just shows how safe you have to be when handling those sort of things.
Right, exactly.
This seems like a nice, very close community. Already 2 people have come by and asked, is everybody okay? I guess these are the people that you'll lean on through Dorian and then after when you've got to kind of rebuild the pieces?
Yes, definitely. Mm-hmm.
If you can, just talk a little bit about how many firefighters came and how did they help you guys out?
Oh, they were tremendous. It was so many of them. They responded very quickly, and I wasn't expecting the house to be the way that it is now. But they did an excellent job, and I thank God for them responding in the way that they did.
Thanks, Larry. We're so glad you're safe here in North Santee with Larry Bland. His house goes up in flames, but thankfully everybody is okay. I'm Scott Eisberg. I'll send it back to you guys.
We track storms with Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Dave Williams.
Most of us are done with Dorian, but not all of us. It hasn't made landfall. It's not going to make landfall in the United States. It's now starting to speed up, push off to the northeast at about 10 miles an hour, right off of Georgetown County, and it will be up into North Carolina waters later this evening. Winds of 105 miles an hour. This thing, so glad it stayed 50 miles farther east, because 50 miles farther west, it would have made landfall and it would have been a whole different story for us here in the low country. I just love this comparison. Hurricane Matthew back in 2016 took this track right here, right along the coast, and made landfall in the low country. Our hurricane, what the heck is the name of that storm? It's time to go home. No, not Matthew. There we go.
Or you just call it Dory.
Dory.
Dory
Yeah,
for short.
We've gotten comfortable with her. There's Dory. Right off to the east of the track of Matthew, so it stayed out over the ocean. Matthew did not. Here's the forecast track on Dorian, and there it goes out into the Atlantic Ocean, headed up toward Canada and eventually Greenland. It doesn't help that the air conditioning's not working in here. Whew. Yeah. Getting warm. All right, look outside. We've still got cloudy skies. The rain is coming down. You see the wind blowing the camera around our live sky view network, and there is the Ravenel Bridge. No more white caps like we were seeing earlier today, so that's a good sign. Winds are starting to come down. Pretty big difference in the temperatures across the state. Charleston 75, Florence 75, Myrtle Beach 75, Greenville 92. That's what we've got coming in tomorrow. The 90s will work in from the south and west as we start to get a clearing. 39-mile-an-hour sustained wind right now, or wind gust in Charleston right now. 52 in Myrtle Beach. So those stronger wind gusts moving up the coast, moving farther away from us. And notice no wind gusts right now in Beaufort, Augusta, Greenwood. So the calmer winds working in on the backside of the storm. Here's what we have right now with our winds. 24-mile-an-hour winds in Charleston, 23-mile-an-hour in Beaufort, and 37 up there in Myrtle Beach. Our storm just off the coast, not quite as close as it was when it came within about 25 miles of the coast here along the Georgetown-Charleston County line, but now it's moving a little bit farther out to sea. And look at that, it's just kind of tucked back in this little cove here, and it's going to move up into North Carolina waters overnight tonight. Now, I just messaged somebody on Facebook and they're still getting it pretty good up in Georgetown. Still seeing those strong wind gusts. So these are likely tropical storm force wind gusts, tropical storm, possibly hurricane force wind gusts out over the ocean, because keep in mind that storm out over the ocean still has 105-mile-an-hour winds. We're looking at those light rain showers over top of Berkeley County, northern Charleston County, but we're seeing the end. Somerville, you're just about to get that. The last of the rain moving out of Cottageville. Charleston, you're going to see the end real soon here. Hollywood, too. The rain is almost over. Speaking of rain, it was very heavy. That 5 to 10 inches we told you that we were going to see right on through this quarter, well, there it is. The highest rainfall total I could find was up here in northwestern Georgetown County, and they're going to add more on top of this. 9.8 inches of rain along Highway 261 there near Pleasant Hill. Right here into Mount Pleasant, right around Dunes West, Park West, 7.6 inches of rain. And then as we head down toward Folly Beach, these are estimates, 6.5 inches of rain. Some of your backyard thermometers may have got, or your backyard rain gauges may have gotten a little more or a little less than this. Out on Folly Beach, 6.5 inches of rain. Those were some of the higher estimated rainfall totals. There's the center of Dorian, moving to the northeast, away from Charleston. Back edge of the precipitation. Columbia didn't get much of anything at all in the way of rainfall. Didn't get the tropical storm force winds. Charleston on the back edge of that rain right now. High pressures off to the west. That high is going to work in over the next couple of days, provide us with lots of beautiful, bright sunshine. Cold front about to pick Dorian up, take it out to sea, and here's our high pressure that's going to settle in for the weekend. Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning, clear skies. Bright and sunny all day tomorrow. Here comes that high sliding across the coast. It moves in for your Saturday. We're going to see a gorgeous weekend, a hot weekend. We'll get those highs up into the 90s all the way throughout. Your forecast tonight, 71 to 75, those showers ending, skies are clearing. Northwesterly winds 15 to 25 miles an hour. Tomorrow, we'll see those highs up into the lower 90s inland, upper 80s on the beaches, sunny and hot. A good day to get out there and clean up. Make sure to help your neighbors because there's a lot of damage out there that needs cleaned up. 92 on Friday, 94 on Saturday, 92 on Sunday, and then headed toward next week. Maybe a little bit of a gradual cool down toward the middle of the week as we get a few more clouds and some rain chances.
Dave, thanks. An update now on those reported tornadoes in North Carolina. This is some video of some of the aftermath in Emerald Isle. The twisters reportedly ripped through the area this morning. A man who lives in the area spoke about the moments leading up to the twister.
Well, I'm sitting there having coffee and the unit shook a little bit, and then it shook real hard, and that the right wall came tumbling down on top of me.
All right, tornado watches are still in effect tonight for parts of the Carolinas. Organizations in South Florida are working to help those impacted by Hurricane Dorian.
Yeah, this is video out of Fort Lauderdale where you can see piles of donations being picked up, packed up for those down in the Bahamas. Dorian, of course, the strongest hurricane to hit the Bahamas. At least 20 people have been killed by that storm.
And as the Bahamas recover from Category 5 force winds and rain, the island is now left cleaning up the damage. Patrick Opamon has the latest now from the Bahamas.
Desperate Bahamians waiting still after so many days for assistance appear to have to wait even longer now as the relief effort to the island of Grand Abaco appears to have stalled. Yesterday on Wednesday, we heard planes and helicopters flying overhead all day long. So far today on Thursday, we've yet to hear or see any aircraft coming to this island. We can only hope that they are in the areas with the most desperate need. To the east of us, the east tip of the island, we hear there are many homes there still underwater, and rescue efforts to save and find anyone who still might be hanging on to life who rode out the storm in their home, one of the hundreds of homes along that part of the island that flooded. So the frustration right now for many Bahamians and for us is to look out the beautiful waters behind us and not see any boats at all, any help on the horizon. And that is because the Bahamian government has said that they need to make sure that the debris field around the island will not cause boats to run into problems, to crash into debris, and that until they can conduct an assessment of the water, see where the debris actually is, and the U.S. Navy and Coast Guard are helping them conduct that assessment. Until that can happen, boats cannot come in here. As well, we got to the airport on Wednesday and found a disaster site. There was no one in charge here. We walked in because most of the fences had collapsed around the airport. There was no one doing any work at the airport. One terminal was completely destroyed. The other terminals had spent days underwater under the storm surge that had come from miles away and flooded the airport and the runway for days. The runway was left with a debris field on top of it, pieces of metal, pieces of concrete that were preventing any plane from landing. Following our reporting on the airport, by coincidence or perhaps not, we were told by residents that a team of people, of workers, showed up to clear the debris from the runway, and it is now clear of that debris. The airport, though, is still not open, and there is no word at this point when the airport will reopen, when a vital lifeline to the outside world will be reestablished, and when Bahamians who've waited on this island, who've suffered now for several days in the wake of Hurricane Dorian, will finally get some help. Patrick Ottman, CNN, Freeport, the Bahamas.
On Wednesday,
staff gave each baby a hurricane-themed onesie to mark their arrival.
So
some read
sweet.
Category 5 cutie, and I was in the hurricane evacuation plan.
They're adorable, right? All right, Chief Meteorologist Dave Williams back with a final check of our forecast as we move into those evening hours.
How you doing?
I'm tired.
Today is Thursday.
Yeah, yeah, I'm going to need that. About a half hour left to go. So folks north of Charleston still getting rain, a few tropical storm force winds up around Georgetown, but that's moving out very quickly. We've weathered the storm. So the worst is long gone. The rain will gradually shut off from the south to the north. And tomorrow's another day, a beautiful day to get outside and clean up all the mess we have out there, because I know there's a big mess. And we'll take care of it, and we'll have our same beautiful city. When we clean it up, it'll be better, you know?
One thing we did not mention, there was a press conference earlier from Governor McMaster around 1:45 today. The Jasper, Beaufort, Colleton County, those evacuations have been lifted. I imagine tomorrow that he will lift evacuations for Charleston County, Berkeley County, and Dorchester as well.
We do know that schools continuing to be canceled on Friday within the Tri-County area. Hopefully, they'll be back to school on Monday. I know parents are itching for them to get out of the house. A lot of parents are.
No football Friday either.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right, we'll see you for ABC News 4 at 6 in just a few minutes.